What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. First of all, let me point out I love the spectator camera for building. It's great! I don't know how I did not know about this before. I really like the ability to just fly around and move through things and still be able to build. And I don't have to worry about running into things, or bumping things, or, I can't quite reach that because of this block. Oh, wait, I can just fly up here and build that. I'm in love. I'm loving it. I honestly don't know how I didn't know about that. Or at least didn't think to try it. Anyways, moving right along. So, tackling things today. As you can see, there's some stuffs going on here. What I'm actually working out is trying to figure out the setup for my rover slash mining drone slash small ship thingy-mabob. If I could fit that on the title, I might actually name it that. So, I worked out a couple of things, and I'm going to go over some of my thoughts real quick. Now, let me point out, I am no expert at this crap. I am derping my way through all of this stuff. That's why I'm very surprised when everyone's like, man, I love your builds and stuff. I'm like, really? Because I don't have any idea what I'm doing. There's a couple of things, though, that I wanted to point out. A couple of people were talking about expanding the bottom to have a third floor. I see the merits, but I really don't want to do that. Mainly because this ship is getting big enough as it is. Oh, there's those mystery blocks. Some of you may recall that I kept hitting Control to try and scroll like this and stuff like that, and it ended up making the placement sound. I couldn't find the blocks. Anyways, so I really didn't want to expand the bottom to a whole nother floor. This, for a compartment, was one thing, but I really did not like the idea of doing a whole nother floor. Like I said, for twofold. One, it's going to make the ship bigger and bulkier, but two is, frankly, it just would make the build that much longer to work on and stuff like that. And in survival, it would make it that much longer before you could, like, build the thing, which, granted, at this point, it's going to take a while. So anyways, that was one of those, yes, it would totally fix it, but I just did not really want to go that route. I wanted to figure out a different way to do it. So it basically became either make it smaller or figure something else out. So what I've come up with is this. Here's my math. Here's the maths behind all of this. And as it stands, I still may have to make some adjustments because I'm thinking of a couple of different things, like my character sitting in there that may cause issues. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to figure out how the build actually ends up looking. But first off is the height. Height is the biggest issue. So we've got room up here that we actually, like this, we can stand here and be fine. So we've got this much room that we can raise the floor. I didn't really want to do that because I like how this looks. Now, it was in the comments, but I actually thought about this moments after I ended the last episode. So definitely, like, on the same page and not really like, oh, that's a good idea. I was already headed that direction. Was putting a retractable floor type thing right in here. And it would essentially work, for those of you that watch my Subnautica series, it would essentially work like the Cyclops class sub in that game. That you'll park the smaller one in here, but there's a little hatch that basically you open and you can enter through this point, and then the doors open and drops the ship out the bottom. So I'd already thought about that. I don't have everything worked out as to how I want to do it, but that is part of the plan. I'm mostly trying to figure out how the drone's going to end, or the rover's going to end up looking before I do that. And let me clarify this too. It's not so much a rover. It's not going to end up being much of a rover. The reasoning was also something that I got from the comments that it made sense as soon as I read it, was the wheels. The wheel wells are going to be an issue. It may not be like a ginormous ending the thing type of issue, can't be done type of issue, but it's definitely going to be an issue because, unless I have any mods in here that I don't know about, oh, which I might. So we have the standard wheels. There's a 1x1, but those don't really work well for a Rover because the wheel doesn't stick out further than the tire. So typically, you have a 2x2, or you have a 3x3 or a 5x5 is typically how it works. Now, I don't know if we could pull some hyper crap like a rotor on a 3x3 or use some of these. I guess I could use the small wheel from the SNCN mod. There's also these that are 2x2. Let me see, do I have a bar I can use? I don't really need these anymore. Let's grab some different ones here and do some comparisons. That one, I don't know what any of these are. We're just gonna find out. Okay. So, on a small ship, that's the 5x5, which is just no. Like, that's just no. Now, then there's the 3x3 one. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. They have them on, like, a track now. That's new. How about the 1x1s? Fascinating. So let me see if I've got this right. Yeah, see how it like pushes it down? That's interesting. So the 1x1s may not be entirely out of the question. It's not pushing them out as far as I would have hoped, though. What happens if I put one like this and then put like a block next to it? Oh, wrong way. Let's do like that. No. Okay, so I don't know about the 1x1s. They're not entirely off the table, but my gut tells me they won't work. So there is that. What are these, though? Okay, now that's an interesting situation. I'm going to go out of spectator mode for a second so I can come over here and bump this, because I want to see what happens. Okay, so you could shift them all the way down. Let me get a control panel here, see if I can control that. Okay. Oh! It helps if you're on the same grid, doesn't it? Okay. Where's my control panel? There you are. It's like, I know I've got one of these in here. Wheel well. Alright, so what do we got? Safety lock speed, safety lock override, steering angle, steering speed, steering return, invert propulsion power, friction dampening. Wow, there's actually a lot. Suspension travel, limits the suspension travel, setting it to 0 will effectively lock the suspension. Okay. Wheels will not be propelled over the speed. That's awesome. So they changed a lot, actually. What does that do? Is that what I'm looking for? The height offset? Or is that away from the wheel well? That's got to be away from the wheel well. Maybe? Maybe not. Not sure what that is, actually. Alright, so if I take this down to 0, let's see. Okay, yeah, it's not moving it then. Interesting. So that would mean, hypothetically, if I push that all the way down, that's still not really... I mean, that's just barely... I wouldn't want to use those. I would want to use these, which is 3 or 2x2. Okay, so it's got a 1 block high block, but you would need a 2 block space from wherever it's going to sit. Okay. So if I was... Okay, so hypothetically, I was going to make this more of a small ship than a rover per se. I'm going to go back in to spectator mode because I like it. So hypothetically, I was going to make it more of a flight type thing, like a hovercraft. But if we can work with the wheels, like this 2-block one, that might be okay. So here's my thought. I can't go above 3 high, right? Like if it's sitting on these hangar doors, I can't go above 3 before it would end up hitting this type of block. Actually, I hadn't even accounted for the width either, but it won't really matter. So I can't go above this. Now, what was being talked about in the comments that made sense was if that's the height of the ship, but then your character's going to stick out, you would have this bay open when you go to enter, and then when you get in and get out, then you would close this back up and it would be able to shut over top of the flight seat or whatever. I hope that makes sense. That basically if it fits in here except for your person, then you leave the door open so your head can stick out, and then when you get out, then you can shut the door because it fits in there in the first place. So that's kind of the idea. So I can't actually have the block height above 3 type of thing, right? And the reasoning also would be if this is the door, like you can see I move this down one to where it's got a little bit of an angle around it. So you have to be able to clear this while also maintaining that you're not hitting the ground beneath you, which is also going to be 3 blocks. So I cut the difference basically, that I made it the same height up here, then a block in the middle, and then you have the same height clearance as you have in here. That was how I ended up moving this ramp set down 1, so it's not perfectly flush with the ground like it was before, I mean the rest of the ship, but it splits the difference basically. Whereas if we did it like this, you've got 5 blocks up here, but then you only have 1 block down here, so if it fits all the way up to the top, it would never get out of here, type of thing. And then I kind of came up with this decorative little angle design that I thought was cool and made me feel like I was on the right track with something. But what I ended up doing is making a frame down here with this 3-block high thing in question. So what I'm going to actually do is seal this off on top as well. And effectively, that's going to be my shell. That it's like, if it'll fit in here, then it'll fit up here, type of thing, is the idea. Now the big question is what to do with it. So we still have a lot of the same blocks in play here, but again, the tires and stuff are going to be an issue if we want to actually use that. So I vote I'm actually going to work out a basic design, and I'd actually like to keep it within this limit as well, within this block space. The reason being, it'll give me a little bit more clearance on the top, or re-entering. I won't have to be so perfectly lined up, type of thing. And there's a couple different ways we could do it, as far as there might be a way to install some kind of retraction thing that goes down and picks it up, or, you know, I haven't figured that out yet. Now, it is important to note that, like, right in here, when I'm in the wall, it may be possible, since this would reach down through this doorway, but it wouldn't be seen out here, it might be possible to embed some 1x1 pistons with connectors or something on them that would extend downward and grab it and bring it up without being in the middle of the floor. So that's something I'll want to explore too. But I'm basically thinking of 2 different versions, and one being a Rover with tires, and the other being more of like, if that works, I'd like to use it. If it doesn't, I'd like to make it more of a thruster base, or do a little bit of both, because effectively you might end up on places that don't have gravity to hold you to the planet or the moon or whatever, so you may not always want to rely on that. So I'm going to work up like a design, just kind of come up with stuff and see what I come up with, and we'll go from there, and then we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, so this is what I've come up with so far. This would be what I would consider like a first draft, if you will. Mainly because I don't know if there's actually going to be any kind of issues or anything. I'm actually going to copy this and paste it over here. If I can. Why can I not? There we go. So I'm actually going to just paste it right there. Yep. Well, good news. Wait, why did it destroy that down there? Well, it's a good thing I saved it. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure why things keep blowing up when I cut and paste them, but, you know, whatever. So, it might have been the tires or something, I'm not really sure. But, I'm going to go ahead, since I made a copy of this, and clip the top and the bottoms off here, as well as the rest of this stuff. Actually, you know what I could do is just disconnect this entirely. Being very careful. And once I do that, I should be able to just cut the whole thing. In theory. Nope, not what I meant to do. Crud. Well, good news, when I pasted that from the clipboard, it didn't actually break anything, so that's a plus. Though, I'm not entirely sure why this is still connected. Because I'm fairly certain that I deleted everything. Oh well, let's do it the old-fashioned way then, I guess. Ooh. Right now... There we go. Okay, so this is pretty much what I ended up with. Again, like I said, kind of a rough draft. Not sure if it's exact or not. What is all this stuff that's floating out here, though? That's weird. I'm getting all kinds of floaty stuff going on. That's funky. Alright, anyways, whatever. So what I ended up doing, that is really tripping me out. It makes me think something's broke. But anyways, it's, I put the tires over here, and I ended up making it a lot smaller because I had it, like, really long, and then it was just kind of like, why? I don't need one this big. So it should all be connected through these cargo containers, actually, all the way to the back here. I'm pretty sure the back... Oh, I just realized the back is still cargo containers, but they're not connected to anything, so that doesn't really do anything. As you can see, they've got the thrusters. I did use the EM thrusters. I'm still trying to work with those. We got batteries, antennas, cameras on the different directions, connectors for some kind of extraction system. There's a remote block here, and then there's one of the SNCN bike seats right there. I don't know if I have enough drills. Like, I tried to cover my top sections and things like that with where the connectors are, and I think that would dig a big enough hole that it would clear the tires, but I'm not entirely positive. Ooh, okay. There are... Whoa. Okay, so let's see. If we were to do that, and then set the wheel suspension to 0 just for now, that would keep it... Alright, that would keep it from going too crazy. I'm driving on the air! Alright, we gotta fix that. Let's put wheels as the group. Set the steering to off. Where's the propulsion? Invert propulsion. No, that's the direction. Power. Alright, let's just turn them off. There we go. Let's just do that. So, propulsion will leave on, steering will leave on, but then we'll turn these off. Which should mean the thrusters kick in. Which isn't as crazy. I may not have needed 3. I put 3 gyroscopes, and I may not have needed that many. though I don't know that I can't turn the... Oh, 4. I don't know that I can't turn them down. Let's do 0.75. That's still really fast. So you wouldn't necessarily have to have that many, because obviously it's not necessary. Let's do 2.5. That's still pretty quick. Like, I'm not sure you would need that much. I'm concerned about the seating, though. I'm like clipping in a weird way, but I don't think it's actually going to end up being affected by, like, oh, you ran into that. It actually kind of looks like a Flintstone car. I'm pedaling my way. But yeah, thruster-wise and everything, that works pretty good for, like, if you were flying around on an atmosphere-type planet, and then if you had the gravity, then I'm imagining we could do thruster override. Let's do thrusters. So if we save that, I don't know that I want to risk doing that to my ship. I was going to say I could just, I could land on it and drive around for a second, but I don't think I want to mess with that. Tell you what, so one thing I would do is put the small drills there, and then put thrusters toggle on and off, and wheels toggle on and off. So from here, I could turn these off and you can't go anywhere, and then you can turn your wheels on, and then it would be more of like you're driving. So if you went to, like, if I can, they're not slowing down though. That's kind of odd. I wonder if there's a handbrake button. Steering on and off. I haven't really worked with wheels all that much, so I don't really know. Reset steer, return, propulsion, invert, decrease power. It's probably just because there's no resistance out here in space, but basically it's kind of one of those, like, if you were going along and then all of a sudden, okay, I need to go back, you could turn your wheels off, turn your thrusters on, and then actually lift off and fly back to the ship or something. So that would kind of work, I think. The drills are all connected through connectors, and I did include a remote block and have cameras on the side as well, so that you could actually pilot it remotely, and it would essentially do away with the mining drone down here. It does move a little bit better, at least. Let's see, what am I missing? Anything that I didn't put on there? I don't think I am. I just had batteries and cameras and drills and stuff like that. I don't have any weapons, but I mean, if I'm doing this right, I really shouldn't. So, the next step would be to build or finish off the I've got to make sure that's sitting still. Finish off the build in here and make sure that everything is okay. So first off, I'm just going to get rid of all of this right here. This is just going to go bye-bye. And then that should go like that, and we're good. Okay. Alright, so let's see. I do have some things to fix, and actually I'm going to go back into spectator mode, because once again, love it. Also, to note, one thing that I'd like to point out that's kind of cool is they have introduced a new animation for rotating the blocks, which I think is really cool, actually. It's kind of one of those things I didn't think I would ever really need or anything, but it does do a lot to, it does kind of do a lot for the whole thing. Like, it actually makes it way easier to figure out what you're trying to do and where the blocks are rotating. And I'll I'll give you an example right now. So normally they would just flip when you push the button, but now there's this cool little rotation thing, which is really neat and simple. You're kind of thinking like, okay, whoop-de-doo, big deal. But it is actually pretty cool. It is actually pretty cool. And I want to go off of this, actually. So we're going to start here and keep this as our defining factor. How many do I need? 3 there? So I need to take this back a little bit. Let's see, I'm trying to think of how I actually want to go about doing this. I think it's going to end up being like that. Or maybe one closer. Let's just go from here, I think. Though, I actually should be building off of this. So that goes to there, and it is a grand total of 15 blocks. So what I really need to do, oops, is go like this and do 15, and then it's got to go around. Oh, wait. It's this one. Whoops. Ooh. That's the only other thing in spectator mode is when you're doing this scrolling stuff, it ends up kind of, oh, that's right, I did a heavy block there. It ends up changing the speed of your movement, which is a little bit weird. Because 1 minute you're moving at a crawl, and then the next minute you're moving really fast. It's kind of funny. But yeah, that little change, even though it's such a small thing... Oh, wait a minute, I don't want that. I want this one. It's surprising how effective that is at helping you actually kind of figure out what you're doing. It's one of those I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Didn't really think that would be a big deal. Ooh, this is going to be a problem. I'm going to have to move this pipe again. Oh well. I'm always having to move these pipes around. At least, like I said, at least with the spectator camera, though, I found an easier way to move stuff around, though. So there's that. So first off, let's just get this set up here. And then we'll work on resetting that. In fact, I could probably just go ahead and break this real quick. We'll just go from that one and we'll figure out where that ties in later, because a lot of this stuff isn't where it was when it started, so I don't really need it to be there anymore. This one is going to be this way. Oh, so I actually shouldn't have broken all those. It didn't need to go back that far. Okay. My bad. And like I said, because we're in spectator mode, I can go back through with the camera and actually fix that. Like that, and then we'll do these guys here, like so. Okay, so that's good. Now let's go back to this mode and just fill in all of that. So that's all nice and sealed. Good, good, good. And the last step here is to... Where did I... There they are. I was going to say, where did I put them? Is to place these guys, and I have no idea, memory-wise, which way they're supposed to go. So I'm just going to place them for now. Make sure everything lines up. The only unfortunate thing with the spectator camera is you do have to have your character to interact with panels and things. That's the only kind of annoying part. Okay, I did manage to get them backwards. they do connect right, but they're backwards. So let's take these and flip them. There we go. And we're gonna do just like that. That should fix it. And let's just make this a group. Rover doors. Boom. Okay. And now that that's actually done, we're going to actually leave them open so that I can try and make sure I can park in here. Because that's going to kind of be the big deciding factor, as it were. I'm going to save this, I think, as it is, and I'm going to go through and reconnect these connectors over here. Though I'm not entirely sure that I actually need to, now that I think about it. Because all of these do actually connect already. The only reason... Oh, wait, those don't. Okay, so I could actually connect these up, like so. So I'm going to make a couple minor tweaks and save it, and then we'll go back and actually try and park our car. Okay, so we got that squared away. I did go through and reconnect the connectors on the back end over here. Let me jump back into this mode so you can see it. So I ran it actually back through where the old, where the old hanger was. Ran it back through there. And actually, I did leave a connector here, or a conveyor, so that if we wanted to, we could bring it through this wall, if for some reason we wanted to connect it up that way. The other thing that I actually went and did was what we had talked about before, was I went through and put panels over all of the gun ports, so it looks a bit more like they're sealed. Now, I don't know if that will cause any issues with retraction. I don't think so, because I don't think they actually go up that far. But there's more than one way to find out, but there's an easy one right here. Weapons. Let's just retract them and see if anything breaks. Okay, it doesn't look like, sound like, or seem like anything's broken, but that does look way better, as it actually looks like they're kind of their own extended external compartments. And what am I picking everything up for way out in the distance? That's weird. Like, I'm getting all kinds of connection ports that I don't think I should be getting. So anyways, that's kind of cool. I'm going to leave the landing gears down just to make sure my theory is correct on our height range here. And I did save it, so we shouldn't have any issues there. Other than just that we're going to, you know, crash, burn, and die from the speed of everything. Ew, this is making me really nervous. Okay. So, from that right there, let's go to spectator. And that does in fact look like it's in line. Though, once again, we might have an issue because of the height here. I did not think about that. But I don't know. It seems like we'll be okay. The other thing is I could always adjust the suspension of the wheels to drop a little lower. I'm just afraid of it hitting the bottom. But, yeah. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Here's an idea. So from this point here, yeah, it's about 3 blocks. So it should be fine, but there's no telling. Now, thankfully, this ended up being a much smaller Rover than originally intended, so the hangar door area is much larger than I actually need it to be, which gives us a lot more room to reach in and grab it, kind of thing, or for it to fly up and stuff like that. Now, as far as the reach grab part, you can see if I clip through the floor, I don't have the height, or not the height, the width that I was expecting, to where the clamps would grab it from all the way over here. It's more middle of the floor. Now, we could work on something like in... Whoops. We could work on something like from this angle over here, from this top layer, of having a piston come out and then down or something to retract it or something. I don't know. So there's that idea. But for now, let's see if we can get ourselves in here without destroying, dying, blowing up, death and dismay ensuing. Okay, so that's where the connectors are hitting. Let's take our spectator. So I may have to pull the wheels up a bit. That's a little too far down, I guess. I don't know. I'm afraid of like trying to extend them, the doors right now, because technically speaking, that would work. If these weren't that far down. So with that in mind, actually, you know what? I'm gonna mount the. I am going to mount the spectator camera somewhere about here, I think, so that I don't have to move it around. Okay, so next step is grab the wheels. Suspension. Where's the suspension? Invert steering propulsion. Reset steer return. Steering. Blah 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 blah. Safety lock. Interesting. Oh, that's the safety lock speed where it closes. Okay, so they don't have a setting for it in there. Darn. I was hoping they would. Okay. So just for this, I don't know how we'd actually do anything particular. But for this moment, I'm going to bring them up like that and then lock them. And we could probably do this with scripts and things like that at some point. Oh. Locked is completely down. Ugh. That I was not expecting. I was not anticipating that. I was hoping I could actually just turn them and then lock them. What is the safety lock override? I wish it would give me a tooltip for this, because I don't know what that is. Safety lock override. Oh, that must have to do with the speed. I wonder... Okay, they're on, but not... Okay, so it's just flopping around. Lovely. Well... I mean, on the plus side, when I'm moving up, then they're, like, stopping. But I don't really know how that would work otherwise. Oh, you know what? I probably should have turned them off. Oh, they are off. Why are they still making their sounds, then? That's weird. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if we break anything. Rover doors. Okay, so if they were pulled up by a connector or something, that would actually work then. Though I'm not sure what to do with the tires and stuff like that. But overall, I think we have a working Rover that will fit and will work. And then, like I said, if my character height were an issue, which it will be actually now that I think about it, because the character is 4 tall and this is only 3 tall. So I'm definitely going to have to put a retractable door in the middle of the floor there to be able to access the seat there. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But we definitely have a working drone rover thingy-mabobber that can also fly. So that's kind of cool. So, yeah. I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Let me know what you guys think. Any problems you may see or 4C, because I will openly admit I have not messed with this stuff too much. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.